Welcome to Work and Wander, where career stories meet dream destinations, and sometimes not so dreamy ones. Today's episode is all about travel nightmares, the moments that make you laugh only after a few years in a strong drink. What do you think, Jess?
Yes, we've asked associates to share their worst travel stories, and honestly, these might make you rethink ever checking a bag or camping again.
All right, and we plan to share a few of our own as well, because if you travel enough, you've definitely had that never again moment.
Absolutely, and sometimes unforgettable. All right, buckle up, tray tables up, and let's dive in.
All right, this first one is from Miranda, who learned the hard way why loyalty programs exist.
All right. Ryan and I were flying back from an extended weekend in DC. We are loyal to a fault with Delta, but in a chance that it makes it better sense, we will fly another airline. We flew Southwest and ended up waiting on standby for an earlier flight. We get on, sit down in separate seats, and get settled. Then the plane starts chattering. Everyone's on board, but we're not moving. Suddenly, over the intercom, is there a Miranda Mayer and a Ryan Mayer on this plane? Raise your hand. Immediately, I'm so red and embarrassed. Like, what did we do? Then they ask us to step off the plane like criminals. Turns out, two people who missed their flight showed up last minute, so we had to give our seats back. This was after standby was already approved, doors closed, and everything. Everyone in the terminal saw us get escorted off while Ryan argued with the attendants. I was so embarrassed. Moral of the story: always fly Delta.
I like the step off like criminals really sets the scene for a moment like that.
It does. That probably would be pretty mortifying. And I'm also a Fly Delta fan. So,
I as well, I won't lie.
all right. So, next up, we've got a story from Dolly, and her story sounds straight out of a horror movie.
This
You
is I
ready
go
for it?
on. Yeah, go for it, Gus.
All right. We weren't deep in the wilderness, just a modest campground off a quiet road, the kind with numbered plots, gravel paths, and a few scattered families roasting marshmallows. It was supposed to be safe, but sometime after midnight, I woke up to a whisper. There's a bear. There's a bear. It was right outside our tent. I blinked, unsure if I was dreaming, until I looked through the mesh screen. A bear, massive, silent, and later realized it's three-legged. It pressed against the tent wall where my husband was sleeping. We could feel its weight. My brother in law unzipped his tent, saw the bear, and bolted back inside. We were too scared to make a sound. We woke our daughter up and whispered, on the count of three, we run to the car. One, two, three. And we sprinted barefoot through the dark. The bear didn't chase, just watched. We locked ourselves in the car and stayed awake until sunrise.
That I mean, there you go. And I like how they ran barefoot.
Oh,
You see what I
haha.
did there?
Da-dum-dum.
I like in the beginning how she says it wasn't the wilderness, it was just a campground. Like that makes it any better. Like you're out in the
Right.
woods regardless. Any camping stories that you have that you care to share with us, Jess?
Oh, actually, I do. I have
All
a
right,
quite an unforgettable one for you, Jay.
let's do it. Let's do it.
So, when I was younger, elementary school age, I believe I was in fourth grade, my family and I went camping, and I am the middle child between two brothers. And we were at a campground at a river site. We've been to this river many times, but never camping. So the camp set up, in the back of the camper, there was a bunk bed area, and my younger brother and I were assigned the bunk bed area, and he was on the top bunk the first night. Now, to describe the bunk bed, though, it's like half enclosed. So the back half of
Right.
you is behind the wall, and the front half of
Right.
you is kind of out in the open. So the first night, my younger brother falls out of the bunk bed while he's sleeping. Everything was fine. I guess, he's tough. So they decide,
Just bounced right back up.
yeah, instead of putting my older brother in the top bunk, they decide to put me in the top bunk the next night. So rude. Because what happened is I fell out of the bunk bed
Of
the next
course you
night.
did. Of course you did.
I don't know what we were doing in our sleep, but hey, I was a dancer, so maybe I was doing something crazy. But long story, I fell out of the bunk bed and was very much injured, but my parents, I guess, didn't quite believe that it was a significant injury. So they decided to put me in the pull-out couch bed with my older brother, and he accidentally kicked my arm in the middle of the night that I had been complaining was hurting. So at that point, I was like screaming in pain. And so my parents decided, yeah, we should probably take you to the emergency room and get checked out. So we go to the emergency room. We're in the middle of nowhere. For some reason, even though I'm complaining of wrist and elbow pain, they only x ray my wrist, which was in fact broken. So I got a temporary sling or whatever on the wrist, and they sent us back to the campground. So same vacation, my
Oh no, there's
mom,
more.
there's more. Same vacation, my mom jumps out of the boat. We were kind of docking the boat in the river and landed on an unmarked anchor that actually gashed the front of her leg and her
Ouch.
shin. Major ouch. It was actually really gross. So we made a second trip to the ER in this camping trip, and she had to get stitches and everything. So we, as a family, definitely have an unforgettable camping experience. But to end it all, when we got back home, I was still having like a lot of elbow pain. So my parents decided to take me back to a doctor where we were from. And in fact, they x rayed my elbow at that time and it was broken.
Oh,
Uh, yeah. What do you know?
no big deal.
So, because it had been so long, I ended up having to have a pretty significant elbow surgery, and lots of physical
Oh,
therapy. Yeah. I still have the scars to prove it. So,
ugh. All right. Well, first of all, that ER needs to have a loyalty program for you guys. Um, and second, oh yeah, that's a lot. Your brother, you and your brother fell out of the bunk, and your mom with the anchor is of
yep.
course unfortunate. Well, all right, that is a nightmare. I'm not sure if it tops though the what I'm calling the Smithsonian squid chaos.
Oh,
So
let's hear it.
I know, right? This is a story from Hannah, and it combines science, squid, and mid-air lightning storms.
Oh,
So we're
no.
gonna buckle up for this one, yeah. When I was 16, I interned for a lab in DC and joined a trip to collect samples from the Jacinto, is that how we're going to say that? The
Yeah.
San Jacinto Mountains in California. After a week of collecting, I was responsible for transporting the samples. They were bugs and mammals and birds, all preserved, with a Smithsonian letter saying that it was legit. I also had about 2 pounds of frozen squid from a fishing trip. Let's just say security was a nightmare. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
But it doesn't end because mid-flight, lightning struck nearby and the plane started shaking. We made an emergency landing in Louisville, and I'm stuck overnight with just me, my squid, and a bottle of water. It was my first time of flying alone as well, so not ideal. I cannot imagine being 16 and dealing with that. For
No.
sure, yeah.
No, the whole time you were telling that story, like I'm just imagining myself at that age and completely being freaked out. And also imagine explaining that bag of preserved animal parts to TSA. Oh my gosh.
I don't even know. I mean, this was obviously years ago, but like, could you even do that now anymore? I mean, I guess if you had the approvals, somehow things like this have to travel from point A to point B. But
Yeah. I mean,
um,
literally preserved mammals and birds.
yeah,
Like, whoa. That's not just a travel nightmare. That's a supervillain origin story.
for sure. That's for sure.
All right. This one might win the prize for the most shocking ending. Are you ready
Oh,
for this?
all right, all right.
We we call this the mystery man. All right, this is from Meredith. I was on a flight from Vegas to Myrtle Beach with a stop in Atlanta. I sat in the middle seat next to a pretty normal guy. The flight attendant kept eyeing him, which was weird, but I didn't think much of it. When we landed in Atlanta, an air marshal and Atlanta PD boarded and walked straight to my row. My heart stopped. They arrested the man next to me and briskly took him off the plane. Everyone was staring, and I had no idea what was happening. Then at my connecting gate, I got a call from the FBI asking to meet me. They wanted to know if he made threats or said anything strange. I was shook. Never found out what he did, but I know it was serious. Scary.
Oh man, an FBI follow-up call, that's next level. Like, what do you do? What do you say?
Can you imagine being for next seat over when the feds board the plane, just pretending to read your magazine? Like, oh my gosh.
That is right. I don't know, like you see it's like things you see in movies that you don't think like really happen in real life, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Um, all right. This one is a little bit lighter, but still some nightmare fuel for anyone who is thinking about bringing home a souvenir. Um, this is Alexa. So she was staying in Lake Tahoe and collected some of the most beautiful and massive pine cones you've ever seen, like 20-inch long pine cones. Um, the plan was to take them home for crafts for her son. When she woke up the next morning in the hotel room was crawling with bugs, spiders, beetles, worms everywhere. So it turns out that pine cones are a luxury condo for bugs, and you shouldn't just bring them into your hotel room. She said, lesson learned.
Oh, I was itching by the second sentence. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. Like, mm-mm.
Oh, no.
Nature, no, nature always wins, huh, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, it does. So I actually have my travel nightmare story is a brush with nature, not creatures, but the elements. This past spring break, I know, this past last March, we went skiing in the French Alps, and which is beautiful if anyone is looking to do that. But the getting there was an adventure. So we landed in Geneva and then had to drive about 2 hours to Courchevel, France. And as we're driving, there's five of us, and we're in like a van. And as we're driving, the snow is getting like harder and harder. Nothing that I felt like we couldn't handle, but
Mhm.
as we started to go up the switchbacks of the resort, we're about 3 miles away from our condo, and we hit a patch and we see cars like stopped, and we saw one that like was just spinning the tires. However, we were
Oh
able
no.
to, I know, we were able to get past that one, but the next switchback, there was like five cars that kept like going up and then sliding backwards, and we became one of those cars that was trying to go up and would hit ice and just go backwards. We went to there was a little like town area about not even a half a mile back. So we turned around, and my wife will say during the turnaround, she was just picturing us like sliding off the side of the road. But we were able to successfully turn around. Um, we went back to the town, and there was like one restaurant that was closing, but they were open. We were like, do you have any suggestions? And they were like, there's a bus that comes by every 45 minutes that should be able to get up. Turns out the bus was at that same turn, not able to go
Oh
any
no.
direction. So I flagged down a local taxi, also a van, and he says that he has chains or whatever, four-wheel drive. I don't know. There's a
What?
there's a language barrier too. We're in France, right? And he says he can take us up. So we park the car in like a real parking spot and take out all our luggage and put it in the van, and we start going. And he makes it past that first spot, but then the next spot he can't make it past. And he assures us that we're too heavy. So he asked the humans, myself, my
Oh,
friend,
dude.
my wife, and our two kids to get out of the van, and he's just gonna go get past this spot, and then we're gonna get back in.
Oh.
It turns out he leaves us because he like is going, and we see him go away with our stuff, and we're walking thinking like we're gonna get around the turn and he's gonna be there waiting for us. Um, Long story not short, he kept going, and we now we're thinking like it's snowing. We're in the dark on the side of the road in Courchevel, France. We still have like 2 miles to get to our condo, so it's not like we're gonna like
Wow.
walk the whole thing. And in the middle, it's about 10 o'clock at night. Um,
Uphill
Uphill in the
in the
snow.
snow.
Yeah, and my buddy Rick didn't have his jacket because we were only going to get out for like a minute, right? So he didn't even have
Yeah.
his jacket with him. We thought our skis were gone forever. It turns out a car came up behind us and was claimed to be his friend. We just had to believe him. Was like, hey, he called me. I'll take you up to him. And so we got in that. I mean, what are you going to do? Like, what's the option? So we got in that. We
Yeah.
got in that van, and the end of the story was that we all our luggage and us all made it. But my kids do say that they were pretty much the most scared that they have been in a maybe ever during the maybe slide off the road and then walk along the snowy road, not knowing if we were going to make it experience.
Oh, so you were actually in the driver's seat and your car was like slipping backwards.
Yeah. Yeah. And as someone from
Oh,
Florida,
no.
that's not something that I deal with very often in my life, as you can imagine.
No, I don't think so. That is so scary.
Yeah. So there you go.
I love that
There's my travel
yours
nightmare.
ties in the nature from the story before, but it also goes back to that old, like, we used to walk uphill in the snow,
I
like to
know,
school.
right?
Like,
Oh yeah, I was gonna walk 2 miles uphill to my ski condo.
I love it. Thank you for sharing me that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, that was fun, Jess.
It was lots of fun. I really enjoyed those stories.
The So we will always tie it back to the mission that at Travel and Leisure we want to put the world on vacation. But today was a reminder that sometimes vacation puts us through it.
Yes, these stories remind us that even the worst trips make the best memories eventually.
Thanks to everyone who submitted their stories and let us share your travel nightmare. This is fun. We'll I think we'll do it again sometime. But we'll also find smooth stories as we continue to curate our podcast here.
Yeah, I agree. But until then, keep wandering, hopefully without the bears or the bugs.